Today, Lori's making stuffed chicken breast with Congressman Dan Webster. Coming up right now on Live with Lori.
Welcome to Live with Lori, where we always serve up political food for thought. Our guest today is Congressman Dan Webster. He was first elected to public office in 1980 and served as Speaker of the Florida House and the Majority Leader in the Senate before moving on to Washington. He is the first non-lawyer to chair the Senate Judiciary Committee in Florida and led the state to pass a constitutional amendment protecting property owners' rights. He serves on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and also on the House Rules Committee. Welcome, Congressman Dan Webster. Thank you for being on.
Great to be on, Lori.
This is going to be fun. We have a lot to talk about today because you're a pretty busy guy.
Yeah.
So this is going to be great. We are making stuffed chicken breast with in a cream sauce.
And we get to eat it, right?
We get to eat it, yes.
Great.
It's served over pasta, and this is going to be really fun because I'm going to have you getting your hands really dirty with some chicken later. Right now, I've got 2 leeks that are cut up, and I've got 2 tablespoons of butter that I've got melted in here. So if you'll just pour that in there, I'm going to have you cook that while I'm chopping up mushrooms. It's going to be about a ½ pound of mushrooms when we're done, and then I've got some fresh breadcrumbs. We're going to put in an egg.
Yeah.
My favorite is a ½ cup of cognac. And let's see, we've got a ½ teaspoon of rubbed sage and a teaspoon of thyme. Now, in the opening, we talked about, I introduced you, and one of the things that I introduced you was that you started in 1980. So you've been in politics for a really long time. How do you balance that with your family life?
Well, during that time, my family grew. I started with 2 kids when I first got elected, and they were 2 years old and 4 years old, 2 boys. And we homeschooled our kids. As a matter of fact, I passed that legislation in Florida in 1985.
Really?
And liked it so much that we decided to adopt it, and so we could take our kids with us to Tallahassee and when we were there, and then at home, we do it at home, and that worked out very well for us.
That's really awesome because I homeschool.
You do?
So yeah, so I'm taking advantage of that. So thank you very much for passing that law.
That was a long time ago.
Appreciate it.
I had no clue what it even was when we did it.
Well,
people came to see me, some people in our area, and there was some court challenges that had pretty much negated the opportunity to do that, and we ended up passing it, which was amazing.
Well, it's an awesome. I mean, not everybody can do it. Let's just say that not everybody can do it.
And it wasn't meant for everybody.
And it's not meant for everybody, but for us, it works out really well. I mean, it's really been a good thing for me, and it's really been a good thing for my son. Some of the other legislation that you got passed when you're in Tallahassee, and a lot of people don't know about the Supreme Court decision. I think it was Kelo versus the City of New London, and I'm just going to let you talk about that because you're the one who got the constitutional amendment passed, and it's I remember this happening, and it was. Thank you very much for making sure that Florida, has this in our Constitution.
And what happened there was something that potentially could have happened anywhere. The government has the right to condemn your property. There's a constitutional right, though, that you get compensated for that property. If they build a road or a school or something, they could come in and take your property. However, they must compensate you.
Yeah, it's eminent domain for public use.
So for public use. But this was different. This was the government condemning property so that they could sell it to a developer to develop it, residential property.
Crazy, isn't it?
That's not right. And I think people recognize that, everybody except the Supreme Court of the United States. And so it was up to the state to produce some policy. So at the time, Dean Cannon was a House member. I was in the Senate, and we sponsored a constitutional amendment, which ended up going to the ballot, passing the vote of the people, and now it's in our Constitution. We're the only state that forbids what happened in New London in their Constitution.
Why do you think that is? Because it seems to me that that's a no-brainer. I mean, obviously, under eminent domain, the state or the county or whoever, I mean, if they have to build a road, that's understandable. But with something that allows them to take private property, I want to have you
What am I
We're
doing?
going to grab these mints and we're going to dump this right in here.
Awesome.
And then we're going to get the mushrooms going. Okay, if I hold this up, will you scrape that in?
I will.
All right.
Ooh.
That allows the state to just take property so that they can use it for profit.
And there were some things happening in this state that was going to do just that.
Really, so it was a potential for happening here.
It was. It was in the making, and basically stopped it before it happened. And it was the same exact setup, that they were going to take property, and they were going to give it to a developer, and they were going to redevelop the property
Now-
for a profit.
That's to me, that is just so much against the Constitution and everything that we've ever learned about the Constitution. You know about the Constitution, and I want to talk about this real quick. Maybe not real quick, but you're on the Rules Committee, and we talked about this earlier. Now, the Rules Committee oversees what Congress does. I mean, are you guys kind of the ones that say, no, that's not constitutional, we're not going to talk about that, or do you just kind of,
We pick and choose the bills that will come to the floor of the House of Representatives. That's
Okay.
what we do.
Okay.
And when those come to our committee, the sponsor comes. No, we don't take public testimony. We take member testimony.
okay?
So those bills come. There are members who have amendments to those bills. They have to come before the Rules Committee and ask for those amendments to be made in order. Some we make in order because they fit the kind of the agenda on other things. There are things that don't fit in that they're not germane to the bill. So you can't put a Mother's Day resolution on the defense appropriation bill. So we disallow those. So, and then once that takes place, we vote, but we vote on a rule that will govern how that bill will be handled on the floor. And then when it goes to the floor, a member of the Rules Committee presents it to the floor for an hour.
Okay, stay with this because after the break, we're going to finish talking about this and we're going to talk about refunds, priority spending, and all sorts of money. So stay tuned. Don't go away.
Coming up next, Lori types in a few questions on the Rules Committee when we come back to Live with Lori.
You love to cook. Now is the time to turn your passion into a career at Kaiser University's Center for Culinary Arts. Learn classic techniques and the latest trends. Enjoy a hands-on experience in a modern kitchen, training alongside certified chefs in the art of cooking. Prepare for your future now by calling Kaiser University at 866-639-8278.
Thinking about buying or selling a home on your own?
Well, I made a few notes to help you get started. Here they are. Figure out how much you can afford. Check your credit report. Save for a down payment. List current home on the market. Mark your current home for sale. Clean and prepare home for showings. Consider offers. Negotiate the contract. Find an attorney to review the contract. Hire an attorney or title company to complete the closing. Research types of mortgages. Find a mortgage lender. Get pre-approved for a mortgage. Decide where you want to live. Decide what you want in a home. Check local school system report cards. Check local property taxes. Go to open houses. Research local amenities. Figure out how much you can offer. Submit an offer. Complete mortgage application. Order inspections. Obtain certificate of occupancy. Negotiate any repairs. Have the property surveyed. Review homeowners association documents. Order a title search. Obtain title insurance. Secure homeowners and flood insurance. Calculate closing costs and how much you need to bring to the table. Conduct a final walkthrough. Whew! You think you can remember all that? Me neither.
When you're ready to sell your current home or to find the home of your dreams, write yourself just one note. Call a Realtor today.
Lori gets the chicken ready for the oven and talks to Congressman Dan Webster about the Rules Committee right now on Live with Lori.
Welcome back. Our guest today is Congressman Dan Webster. We're making stuffed chicken breast with the cream sauce. We're finishing up our stuffing, and right now we're going to add about half a cup of cognac to these mushrooms that we've browned. And if you have a gas stove, be careful because it'll catch on fire.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm telling you now. You just want to cook this until the liquid runs off. And then we're going to add it to our stuffing and make our stuffing and then start wrapping our chicken breast. But we were talking about the Rules Committee. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about that was, you know, we always hear about these writers or this stuff that gets put in these bills at the last minute so somebody else will vote for them because they didn't like that and to make it palatable for everybody. Is it your job on the Rules Committee to say, you know what, that really has nothing to do with this bill, we're not going to let it go to the floor?
It's an issue called germanity.
Okay.
And that is, does it address the same subject matter and so forth? And yes, we we try to protect the House from those and disallow those amendments in most cases. We also, though, try to make sure that the issues that are being discussed are open and honest. Everybody gets their say, everybody gets a chance to vote, and so we try to allow as many amendments as we can, but we do try to restrict those that don't fit.
How well does that work?
Well, we vote, and when we vote, it's done, and usually we're able to disallow, like I said, issues that don't fit. And the other thing we've done in a rule which we govern is not allow earmarks. So
Okay.
you know, earmarks are a big thing. Thousands and thousands of them will be added in. You get bridges to nowhere and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's all been done away with since the last
So
2.5 years.
there's no more.
Right. We don't do
Okay.
earmarks.
Well, good. That's good to know. Now, as you can see, I'm just smashing this stuffing together. I put that egg in there, and if you're worried about the alcohol, it cooks off, but you can drink that later. One of the things I read about you that I thought was a really cool thing is that you cut your budget, and you gave a check of $360,000 back to the taxpayers last year. Why doesn't everybody do that?
I don't know. All I can do is tell you why I did it.
Right.
There's a philosophy that says, if it's appropriated, spend it. That's part of the Washington culture. So,
Yes, it is,
So
isn't
there's
it?
no incentive to save money, even if the Congress decided to slow down and slow spending. Still, every dime that's appropriated is spent.
Okay,
And I
well-
wanted to say, no, that's not true. It doesn't have to be that way.
Well,
that
you
you can
would-
economize. So in the end, over the 2 years, it was $842,000 able to turn back.
Really?
Of
Almost
money
$1 million.
and I didn't have to ask the president or the Senate, the head of the Senate or the head of the House or anything like that. It's money we're given to run our offices.
Right.
And I was able to turn back that much just to say, look, you don't have to spend it all.
I think that's a really good principle, and I think that more people should go with that. What I'm doing here is I've got you some stuff.
Am I supposed to do what you're doing?
Yeah, we're just gonna have I'm gonna have you roll this up just like this, and then we're gonna tie it. And we'll see if you were a Boy Scout and you remember how to tie knots.
Yeah, I can tie knots. So am I doing two different
You
things,
just-
or I make
you
it work
just-
for
just-
two?
Yeah, you just
okay, so you
tie
wrap it
like
around
this.
there. I
Yeah,
got
it's
it.
okay.
Yeah, I got it.
However you want to tie it and keep
All
it
right.
together.
I got
You
it.
know, I have my own little way. Anybody who's stuffed anything has their own way. What we're going to do is we're going to put this chicken back in this pan and brown it while you're tying that. That's what I'm going to do. And we've got lots of other issues that we've got to cover because
Yeah.
we've talked. Hey, good job.
How about that?
See, that's
Now
perfect.
put it in the pile here
Yeah,
or
we're
put it
gonna,
in there?
You know what? I'm going to have you put it right here in that pan. So go right ahead and throw it right in there. We're going to turn this back on and brown it. Stay tuned because after the break, we're going to talk about balanced budget, transportation and energy, and hopefully something about the IRS. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
When we come back, Lori and the congressman finish the chicken and discuss IRS accountability.
If you haven't been to the Yellow Dog Cafe lately, we invite you to come see what's new. Kick back on the brand new River Deck, a great place to unwind with friends. Enjoy a cocktail at the new Dog Bar. Then enjoy a fabulous 5-star dinner inside the Yellow Dog. If you've never been to the Yellow Dog Cafe, come see what you've been missing. Just 5 minutes south of Melbourne, Yellow Dog Cafe.
Smith & Associates, a full-service law firm. All of our partners at Smith & Associates are AV rated, which is the highest level of professional excellence according to Martindale-Hubbell.
Whether your business or company has environmental, healthcare, or business law needs, we're here to help you.
We believe our role is to help you find solutions to all your legal issues.
Smith & Associates, whatever your legal needs are, we can help.
Smith & Associates, with offices in Tallahassee and Melbourne.
I love helping others, and that's my job as a registered nurse. I help people live healthier lives. I treat patients, work with doctors, and teach people to care for their loved ones. I comfort patients and their families when they need it most.
You can become a registered nurse too. Start your nursing career by calling Kaiser University now. Call 1-877-283-7627. That's 1-877-283-7627.
Welcome back to Live with Lori. Stuffed chicken breast is on the menu as Lori speaks with Congressman Dan Webster.
Welcome back to Live with Lori. Today our guest is Congressman Dan Webster, and we're making this stuffed chicken breast with our cream sauce. So we've rolled up all our chicken. You did an excellent job with your knots, and I've just browned the top of it. Now I've got a cup and a half of half and half, and I'm going to have you put that in there. It's a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and about a teaspoon of salt. I don't really measure, but you can if you want. A teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to have you whisk that real quick with that little whisk. And then just pour it over the chicken, and we're going to pop it in the oven. And you want to have it at about 350, 20 to 30 minutes. Make sure that you turn these halfway through your cooking time so that they get evenly braised in this really delicious cream. And I hope nobody's on a diet here. So if you would open the oven for me, I'll pop this in. No, the top one, please.
Top one?
Mm-hmm. And we'll pop this in. And through the magic of TV, looky there, we've got one done already. Now, the fun part to this is we're going to take this chicken out on this plate. Let's talk about IRS while I do this. Tell me
A bunch
about
of chickens? Is that what it is?
Well, we could talk about the cream rise on the top, but I'm not really sure about it.
yeah,
I guess
that
I
is-
shouldn't say that because I'll get audited now.
Yep.
But let's talk about IRS accountability. What do you think? I mean,
I think they have lost the trust of the American people. I mean, of all those that should be have blinders on, including our Justice
Right.
Office, is the IRS, because they deal with everyone. They have lots of information about everybody, and they should treat everyone the same with an even hand.
They should.
And for them to target individual groups, no matter who those individual
Right.
groups are,
They
whether we
wouldn't-
agree with them or don't agree
Right.
with them, is wrong. It is a breach of trust. And the Congress is working on getting to the bottom of it and who said what and when they said it. We've even had those come in and invoke the Fifth Amendment because they know they've probably done something.
do you think you're ever
criminal.
going to get to the bottom of it?
I believe we will.
Well,
Because we're not letting up. I think there are a lot of people that are discouraged and say, well, don't overplay it. It's kind of over. It's past. We're done with that. No, we're not. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Well, I hope so. I hope so because as you said, it's supposed to be a nonpartisan thing, and it kind of erodes the trust of government. And there's not, in my opinion, a whole lot of trust there to begin with. So, let's hope that we get this settled.
And I'm a prime co-sponsor of a bill which basically just added the 11th way that someone who works for the Internal Revenue Service can be dismissed. And that is if they participate in any kind of profiling or targeting.
There's only
of
11
groups.
things you can do wrong?
There's 10 now.
Oh, okay.
This will be the 11th.
Because I was going to say, most jobs, there's more than that.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to get fired from a government job, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's,
But this one is for sure. It ought to be the number one.
It should be. It should be. Well, I mean, since we're talking about accountability, let's talk about your balanced budget plan.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
And I don't think anybody's proposing that we balance the budget next year, even though we'd like to do that. It's not going to happen. But there ought to be a pathway to prosperity, and that is a balanced budget. The president proposed a budget. That budget never, ever balances, not in 100 years, not in 500 years, ever. And then the Senate proposed a budget. Theirs never, ever, ever balances, which is odd that you'd even propose something like that. What kind of budget is that? And yet the House has proposed to balance the budget in 10 years. That's a reasonable goal.
But like here in the state of Florida, we have a balanced budget amendment.
We do.
Why do you think that it is such a foreign concept for the federal government?
I think if we went from a philosophical reason, the culture, like I was talking about, the rule of the culture is if it's appropriated, spend it. Well, the culture in Washington fights against a balanced budget. It does. Or we would have balanced long ago. And that is the main problem. And so We need a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution that would force us to do that, just like we have in Florida. We have the reason we balance our budget is because it's in the Constitution that we have to.
That's the main job of going to Tallahassee.
So we have sponsored a bill that would balance without a constitutional amendment in 10 years. However, it would be very good to have a balanced budget amendment in the Constitution.
I think that the majority of people are for that because everybody has to balance their budget. Why shouldn't the government have to balance their budget? I mean, everybody has to do it. You know, it's kind of one of those no-brainer things. Don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to ask the congressman our signature question, and I'm really anxious to hear what that is. I'm sure it probably has something to do about the budget. I don't know, though. Just a wild guess. And we're going to get to try some of this yummy chicken. So stay tuned. The meat selection for today's episode of Live with Lori was provided by Wassey's Meats of Melbourne, Florida.
Lori asks Congressman Dan Webster her signature question, coming up next on Live with Lori.
Smith & Associates, a full-service law firm. All of our partners at Smith & Associates are AV rated, which is the highest level of professional excellence according to Martindale-Hubbell.
Whether your business or company has environmental, healthcare, or business law needs, we're here to help you.
We believe our role is to help you find solutions to all your legal issues.
Smith & Associates, whatever your legal needs are, we can help.
Smith & Associates, with offices in Tallahassee and Melbourne.
Hi, I'm Lori Halbert, your host of Live with Lori, where we serve up political food for thought you can really sink your teeth into. See what's happening both in the kitchen and across political party lines. Each week, you can see if your elected official can stand the heat in the kitchen as we discuss today's relevant issues along with teaching them some mad culinary skills. If you'd like us to interview your state senator, state representative, or even U.S. congressman, please contact our executive producer, Jason Steele, at livewithlori.com. It's intellectually satisfying.
Thinking about buying or selling a home on your own?
Well, I made a few notes to help you get started. Here they are. Figure out how much you can afford. Check your credit report. Save for a down payment. List current home on the market. Mark your current home for sale. Clean and prepare home for showings. Consider offers. Negotiate the contract. Find an attorney to review the contract. Hire an attorney or title company to complete the closing. Research types of mortgages. Find a mortgage lender. Get pre-approved for a mortgage. Decide where you want to live. Decide what you want in a home. Check local school system report cards. Check local property taxes. Go to open houses. Research local amenities. Figure out how much you can offer. Submit an offer. Complete mortgage application. Order inspections. Obtain certificate of occupancy. Negotiate any repairs. Have the property surveyed. Review homeowners association documents. Order a title search. Obtain title insurance. Secure homeowners and flood insurance. Calculate closing costs and how much you need to bring to the table. Conduct a final walkthrough. Whew! You think you can remember all that? Me neither.
When you're ready to sell your current home or to find the home of your dreams, write yourself just one note. Call a Realtor today.
I'm Dean Asher, President of Florida Realtors, and we've been a sponsor of this show and think it's great to be in that position. And it takes a lot for politicians to come who never cook and take them out of their element, put them in the kitchen and have them cook. I think it is amazing, and a lot of times what you're doing there, they're really focused on trying to figure out, okay, what question's going to come next, but then they're cooking, and I think it's an honest live conversation that happens.
I cook a lot at home, and so this was a great opportunity to learn something new.
What I've seen on TV and seen live, I think it's a great show for everybody in Florida and for our political community.
We'd like to thank President Dean Asher and all the members of the Florida Realtors for their support of Live with Lori Political Food for Thought.
Live with Lori Political Food for Thought. Let's see what Congressman Webster has to say about Lori's signature question.
Welcome back to Live with Lori, where we're always serving up political food for thought. We're here with Congressman Dan Webster, and we have made this chicken, and it's pretty good.
It is awesome.
Yeah, we've already started eating, and
couldn't wait.
Yeah, now you can make this for your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how to make it. We'll send you home with the recipe. This is my favorite part of the show because I get to ask the signature question. If you were king for the day, which law would you enact or repeal?
I would do a repeal. We got too many laws already. I would repeal Obamacare. And the reason I would is because, one, it does a rate on the Social Security Trust Fund or the Medicare Trust Fund of $752 billion. It is not supported by even close to a majority of the people. About 39% of the people favor it, and many are, in a way, a big majority oppose it. It hurts business. Lots of businesses are afraid about what's going to happen. It's a tax on the individual. If they don't get the coverage, it may be something you don't really want to buy. Well, then you got to pay a tax if you don't. So there are a whole lot of reasons, but in the end, it's a bad health policy. It's not affordable. It says it's the Affordable Care Act. It's not. And in the end, I think we want to get the health care we can afford from the doctor we choose and if we don't do that, then we're certainly missing out on what is a great health care system we have already here.
Well, you know what, we talked about this a little bit before. Congress funds everything, so, you know, if there's no money for it, there's no money for it.
And we've been able to keep the IRS from beefing up because I guess that's the next thing, and that is this is going to all be run by the Internal Revenue Service, and they've already proved themselves to be not very good about. So what are we going to do when we give them all our health records?
So that's the part that really bothers me, and I think it bothers a lot of people. Is that we know that the government isn't as careful maybe with our information as we would be, and you know the government has shown that things can be breached and things can happen, and that's really what concerns me is the mass amount of information that the government's going to have. Thank you so much for being here. This was really so informative, and it was just a lot of fun. I'm really glad you could join us.
Great to be on, Lori.
As always, if you'd like this recipe or any of the others, you can go to our website, livewithlori.com. Now, if they want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
They can go to my website.
Okay.
And it's webster.house.gov.
Okay, great. You can also contact him through our website because we'll have a link up there. And as always, this is Live with Lori, where we always serve up political food for thought. See you next time.
Catering for Live with Lori is provided by Sue Ann's Bakery located in Indialantic, Florida.
Live with Lori is an awesome way to present a lot of information and still get a nice meal out of the deal. I loved being here, loved the casual manner, and yet we were able to talk about some pretty deep subjects and some big problems that we have in the United States Congress.
Closed captioning for Live with Lori is brought to you by Club 52. Go all in and win.
For more information about Congressman Dan Webster, visit webster.house.gov. For today's recipe, to leave a comment, or if you have a question you'd like Lori to ask, visit livewithlori.com. Join us next time for more political food for thought on Live with Lori.